Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Strasbaugh. I'm the Associate Director of Community Programs for Seattle Theater Group. STG is the nonprofit that runs the Paramount, the Moore, and the Neptune theaters. Thanks for joining us for Beyond the Curtain. This online series highlights artists with the work that they're doing and their artistic journeys. So now, without further ado, let's go beyond the curtain.
I'm Tim Sheader, and I'm the director of Jesus Christ Superstar. I've been working in theatre now for 21 years. I went to law school, so a pretty unconventional start, I guess. But I was very passionate about working in theatre, and I wrote lots of letters back in the days when we wrote letters. And someone gave me an opportunity to train as a trainee assistant director. And I did that in a small theatre in London. And then I became an assistant director and a resident director at the Royal Shakespeare Company. And then I can kind of trace all my jobs back to there. I've been incredibly fortunate, and I've managed to earn my living for 20 years as a theatre director, which is, you know, not an easy thing and is becoming increasingly harder for younger directors. So I'm very privileged and lucky. My process with Jesus Christ Superstar started less with the character slash person Jesus Christ, and more with the Brown album that Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice created. So I suppose what I mean by that is that my way into it was the music and the form and the way that they have chosen to tell the story. I always prepare a lot for everything that I work on, and it's actually part of the process that I enjoy doing in the months before you get into the studio. So I did a lot of research. I did a lot of listening to the Brown album, which I was not that familiar with, by the way, before I started work on it. And then I listened to a lot of music that Andrew Lloyd Webber and that I surmised that Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice might have been listening to as, you know, 23 and 24-year-olds back in the late 60s, early 70s, that might have influenced this highly original concept album. So I enjoyed doing that. And then I started thinking which characters might be based on certain rock stars, and, you know, rock stars that I might be able to suggest to the performers that they look at. I did a tiny bit of Bible research, not very much, but a little bit. So I looked up certain things. I looked up the episode of Jesus when he arrived at the temple and overturned the moneylenders, and certain things that appear in the musical. I looked up the Passion, you know, and re-familiarized myself with various versions of the Passion, and then kind of very quickly deciding what kind of story I want, and what kind of production I wanted to share, which led me to dance, because there's a lot of dance in this version, probably more than any other version of this show. So then I looked at styles of dancing and styles of concert dance that I was going to invite the choreographer to make. And then really we all worked together in the room, myself, the music director, the designer, the scenic designer, and the choreographer. We kind of arrived in the room very much with an empty, we'd done our research and we'd prepped, but it was very much an empty canvas. It was a show that was definitely created with the performers in the room. So the feel of the show is that it should feel, when you come and see it, that you're at a live music event. So it's a gig, you can see the band. It was very clear that we wanted to be able to see the band, but I wanted to more feel like it was a holistic experience of musicians. Some played trumpet, some played the Hammond organ, some played, well, many played riffs on guitars, and others were lead vocalists. So I was very clear about the performers I wanted to work with. I wanted to work with people who were comfortable with making music. It was less about how many plays they'd been in, or what Shakespeare plays they'd been in, or what book musicals they'd been in, and what was their connection to music. Were they authentic did they have an authentic relationship to music making? I think that it's interesting, this is 50 years old now, this album. This tour is the 50th anniversary tour. But I was in Portland, Oregon, reopening this tour last week. So the band were playing again for the first time in 18 months. And I turned to, and it was so thrilling. And I turned to one of my colleagues and said, if this landed on my desk as a brand new piece of music theatre now in this Brown album form, it would still feel radical as a piece of theatre. And I truly believe that. Way more radical than most contemporary musicals, not all, but most. And I guess that's why I'm interested in tapping into the original, because I'm not really interested in kind of tired tropes. And I don't think it is a tired trope. I think it's radical and seminal. And to place the narrative of the passion of the last days of Jesus Christ into a rock concert still feels radical to me. I hope that audiences in Seattle walk away moved. I want them to have had a great communal live experience. I want them to hear and feel music in their ears and their bodies. I want them to feel it through the musicians that are in front of them and through the people around them. And I just want them to have an emotional experience as a group of people coming back together. And music feels the best way of doing that, or the most direct way of doing that. I'm personally working on a new musical of 101 Dalmatians, which we were meant to do this summer, but it got cancelled for the pandemic. So we're hoping to make it next year. So I'm about to go into research and development workshops of the puppets to figure out precisely how we're going to put 101 dogs on stage. I would like to say that it's been, as it has for everybody, it's been an incredibly difficult time for artists. And the people that you're going to see in Jesus Christ Superstar, and the people that you're not going to see, not just the performers, but the host of talented wig makers and dressers and sound operators and stage management, who are all backstage. They were all laid off in Cleveland on the 13th of March last year, and none of them have worked since. It's not just a job for us, it's our lives, it's our spirits, it's who we are. And it's been so dark and so impossible for those people. Those artists coming back to work is one thing, but it's nothing without people coming back to the theatre. We are a communal activity. We want to share our stories and our music with you in Seattle. And we are immensely grateful and inspired by those people who, like us, want to come back and have that communal experience, to be human, to share stories together again. And yes, there's small risk in that, isn't there? Although we're vaccinated and we will be wearing our masks. I want to say thank you to the pioneering audiences that are going to come back next week, because you are new. You are the first people back into these theatres. And as I say, without you, there is no art form. So I hope Jesus Christ Superstar will be an enjoyable experience for many people when we're in Seattle next week. Finally, just want to give a shout out to the audiences that are coming to the Paramount Theatre and the Seattle Theatre Group. I know the company are really excited to visit your beautiful city, and I hope you enjoy our show.